The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. 21 lives horribly failed by law enforcement in Uvalde. Disgusting surveillance video from the day of the shooting massacre has been leaked online. And it really makes you wonder why the officers on the scene just waited while the gunman cut down those children and teachers. The full video is too awful to show here. It shouldn't even be shown to parents. That's my personal opinion here. But we can tell you officers arrived on campus 3 minutes after the gunman. They can be seen waiting in the hallways, using hand sanitizer, and even casually checking their damn phones, all while listening to round after round be fired into classrooms. As the investigation continues now, we're still trying to wrap our heads around this, and we brought in an expert, someone who's experienced this before.
That was coward-ass behavior.
Right.
I've never seen anything like this.
Well, Isaiah, in all my years of training and in law enforcement, I have never seen, the best way I can describe it is a cluster. I've never seen law enforcement handle a situation so bad. You know, I take it for granted. You have to say that with a caveat that I'm watching it from afar, but the video speaks for itself. I saw no sense of urgency, no sense of concern for the victims who were being murdered in these classrooms by the officers that responded initially and later on. The delay that these officers took cost lives. And I'm watching a guy utilize the hand sanitizer, then these guys are checking things on their phones, and they seem like they had no sense of concern for these children and these teachers that were in these classrooms being murdered, and it's a shame.
And they are just doors away, and you have nerves to be on your phone, checking messages or social media, whatever they were doing, putting on hand sanitizer while these children are dying in a classroom. Right. Who are these people? And they didn't really go in until the Border Patrol agents got there. And these are the guys who are on the border, and they're all supposed to have the specialized training to be able to handle an active shooter like this, Greg. Well, all law enforcement agencies go through it. What happened to that training?
It went out the window. Training is one thing, but when you're put in a real life situation, your true colors come out. You know, you can train to get by fear, but you can't train to get by cowardice. Real cops respond. And I worked with real cops, and we would not wait for some other agency. When it's just like in Columbine, cops did not want to wait for other agencies to get there to respond. They wanted to take the initiative and go do something about it right then. And you didn't see any type of indication that these cops were willing to do that. You know, as you said, you saw the guy running away. They didn't stack up. It's just a number of things. This is a classic law enforcement critical incident failure. And I don't know how these guys can live with themselves knowing that they did not take action when they had every opportunity to do so.
And obviously, we weren't there.
Right.
But you as a former law enforcement officer, HPD, Aurora, you were there during that incident. You know what it's like to handle a situation like that. And like you said, a real officer, a real cop would not just run away. Exactly. One guy almost broke his neck trying to run down the hall away from the gunfire.
Exactly. I'm embarrassed to come from a law enforcement background to see something like this, but it is the most shameful thing I've ever seen as far as cops failing to perform their duties. You know, you put on that badge, you know that there's a chance you might lose your life, but that's part of the oath you take to sacrifice your life for the safety of others. And these guys, it's just pathetic. It's just pathetic.
I don't know if parents can stomach seeing this when they get a chance to see this. Those who were involved, those who lost their children, when they look at this, this is going to enrage them.
Well, and it's not only going to enrage them, but it's also going to erode the confidence in law enforcement, not just in Uvalde, but around the country, because it's going to make, at least cause some people to think, question, can I count on the cops in a situation like this? Because it wasn't just one or two cops that failed to act. There were several. And it just makes you, it's just going to make people wonder, can we count on the police? And I guarantee you some of it's going to believe, no, we can't.
What can you do in a situation like this judicially when officers fail to do their jobs like this, clearly fail to do their jobs, running away from a shooter who's cutting down elementary school children and teachers in that building? What could be done? Are there criminal charges possible in a situation like this?
Now, that's something I can't begin to address. You know, obviously, you'd have to talk to an attorney who's familiar with the type of laws that you could apply. But you see things like failure to act, you know, an unwillingness to perform your duty. It's just it's a dereliction of duty. And
that's more administratively.
It's more administrative, right? And you see, I can speak to those things. But as far as criminal act, obviously, you can sue anybody. And I would not be surprised to see. Historically, we saw what happened in Las Vegas when the officers failed to act, and we saw what happened in Parkland when the officers failed to act. You can take some type of criminal action against these people, undoubtedly, you know, according, depending on what Texas law states. And in my opinion, should they? As I said, you watch this and you get so emotional, and it's hard to step back and look at this objectively, because, you know, especially coming from a law enforcement background, every inkling in your body say, well, let's go get this guy. And you see these guys fail to do so. And it angers me. And I've been retired for over 10 years. And, you know, it just sickens me.
It's almost frightening first when you see the gunman, because you already know the end of this story. It feels like a movie, and you already know the end of the movie. So when you first see him walk in, it's just, you know, nightmarish, because you know what he's going to do. And then you hear the gunfire, the AR-15 going off, one shot after another. It's just heartbreaking. And I'm sure it's going to leave a lot of families emotionally distraught,
right,
and hurt, crying, and then victimized all over again when they look at this video. So I know it's an option that they have to see it. I wouldn't recommend it to them. It's just horrible to see this video.
And I agree with you. And this is something you never live, as an agency, you never live this down. This is going, and I guarantee you across the country right now, this video is going to be used as a training tool for other law enforcement agencies to teach them and train them on what not to do. Because if you're not going to step up to the plate and do your job, take off the badge and go home. Because you had citizens at that scene that were willing to go in and engage this guy, and the cops wouldn't. And these guys they had on tactical equipment. You know, they had small arms compared to his AR-15, but they had the number. And
perfect quote. If you're not going to do your job, take off the badge and go home.